Here is something nobody tells you when you start a business. You can have the right product, the right market, the right team, the right timing, and still fail. Not because you made a bad product, not because customers didn't want it, but because of something far more invisible, something most founders never even think to question. Your business model, not your pricing, not your pitch deck. The actual structural mechanism by which money enters your business, compounds, or quietly drains away. And the brutal truth is this: most entrepreneurs pick their business model the same way they pick a restaurant. They go with whatever feels familiar, whatever the successful company they admire happens to use, whatever their first customer seems willing to accept. And then they wonder, usually 18 months in, why growth feels like pushing through wet concrete. Today we are going to fix that. Specifically, we are going to walk through a real scenario, a founder making one of the most consequential mistakes you can make at launch. And by the end of this, you will have a framework that makes your business model selection a deliberate, strategic decision, not a guess. Let's go. Let us talk about a company called TalentBridge. Not a real company, a composite of patterns I have seen dozens of times. A talent matching platform connecting freelance designers with small businesses. Think of it as a niche version of Upwork, purpose-built for design. The founder, let's call her Meera, is sharp. She has built a clean platform, vetted 100 designers, and signed up 200 small business owners. Early users love it. The product works. Here is the problem. Meera chose a subscription model. Businesses pay $40 a month to access the platform. Designers pay $20 a month to be listed. 12 months in, she has 400 paying users. That sounds reasonable. Do the math, roughly $11,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Not bad for year one. But here is what the numbers are hiding. Designer churn is brutal. 40% of designers cancel within 90 days because they are not getting enough job matches. And businesses start leaving at month 3 because there are not enough vetted designers in their specific niche. Meera is pumping money into acquiring both sides of her platform. And both sides are bleeding out. She did not choose the wrong industry. She did not build a bad product. She chose the wrong business model for the specific problem she was trying to solve. And this is where most founders stop and blame the market. The smarter move is to understand exactly why the model failed, and what she should have done instead. There are 5 fundamental business models. Not 27. Not 100. Subscription. Marketplace. Freemium. Direct to consumer. Traditional sales. Every business you have ever admired maps back to one of these, or a deliberate hybrid of 2. The subscription model charges recurring fees for ongoing access. Netflix. Adobe. Your gym membership. It works when the customer has a persistent, recurring problem and the value compounds over time. The marketplace model connects 2 sides of a transaction and takes a cut. Airbnb connects hosts and travelers. Uber connects drivers and riders. The platform itself holds no inventory. It just creates conditions for transactions to happen and schemes a percentage of every one. The freemium model gives the core product away for free and charges for the premium version. Spotify. Dropbox. The bet is simple: acquire massive scale cheaply, then convert a small percentage to paying customers. 2 to 5% conversion is actually considered healthy. The direct-to-consumer model eliminates the middleman. You own the product, you own the customer, you own the relationship. Warby Parker did this with eyewear. Casper did it with mattresses. Margins are higher. So is operational complexity. And traditional sales, the oldest model in existence. You make something. You sell it. One time. Wholesale. Consulting services. It generates immediate revenue with low startup overhead and almost no scalable ceiling. Now here is the thing most people miss. These models are not interchangeable. They are not equally suited to every product or every market. Each one is essentially a machine with its own physics. And the biggest mistake founders make, the one that killed Meera's trajectory, is picking a model that belongs to a different machine entirely. Meera built a 2-sided marketplace but priced it like a subscription. She was trying to run an airplane on a car engine. Let us get specific about why this matters so much. In a marketplace model, the economics are driven by what insiders call the take rate, the percentage of each transaction the platform keeps. Airbnb takes roughly 3% from guests and 3% from hosts. That sounds tiny. But multiply that across millions of transactions and you get a business worth tens of billions of dollars. The model scales because the platform does not pay for inventory. Hosts own the properties. Airbnb just oils the machinery. Now think about what happens when you charge subscription fees on a marketplace instead. You create something called the chicken and egg problem. You need designers to attract businesses. You need businesses to retain designers. Neither side wants to pay a monthly fee if the other side is not there yet. And collecting subscription revenue before delivering matching value means users are paying for a promise, not a result. This is not a marketing problem. It is a structural one. If Meera had launched as a marketplace, charging a 15 to 20% cut on every successful project rather than a flat subscription, here is what changes. Designers join for free. No friction. No monthly fee before they have made $1. They only pay when they earn. Businesses join for free too. They post a project. They get matched. They pay the platform a commission on completion. The incentives are now aligned. The platform only makes money when a transaction succeeds, which means the platform is deeply motivated to make transactions succeed. Meera's product was fine. Her incentive structure was broken. And the difference in revenue trajectory between those two models, over 3 years, is not marginal. It is the difference between a business that compounds and a business that bleeds. So what should Meera actually do? Step 1 is what the guide calls a market characteristics analysis. You rate your market on 5 factors, on a scale of 1 to 5, before you commit to any model. How frequently do customers need your solution? For Talent Bridge, the answer is moderately frequent. Small businesses do not hire designers every week, but they do multiple times a year. How price sensitive are they? Small businesses are notoriously budget conscious. How complex is the product or service? Moderately. Matching the right designer to the right project requires curation and trust. How mature is the market? Established. Businesses already know they can hire freelancers online. How digitally savvy is the audience? High on both sides. Designers and small business owners are digital natives. Now run the interpretation. High digital savvy combined with a clear need for connections? That is the marketplace model. Step 2 is the resource capability evaluation. Meera needs to be honest about what she actually has. She has strong technical chops. She built the platform herself. She has decent marketing instincts. But her funding runway is thin, maybe 6 months. Here is where it gets interesting. A marketplace model actually requires less capital in the early stages than a subscription model. Because you are not subsidizing user acquisition with monthly revenue that takes months to recoup. You are generating revenue from the first successful transaction. Step 3 is what the framework calls the strategic alignment assessment. What are your long-term goals? If Meera wants to eventually raise a Series A and build toward acquisition, a marketplace with growing gross merchandise value, that is, total transaction volume, is far more attractive to investors than a subscription business with 400 users and 40% churn. Acquisition multiples for high-growth marketplaces can be extraordinary. Subscription businesses with churn problems are discounted heavily. So Meera pivots. She removes subscription fees entirely. She implements a 20% commission on every successfully completed project, paid only when the client marks the job done. She focuses her first 90 days on one geography, one niche, logo and brand identity projects in Bengaluru. She does not try to conquer everything. She finds liquidity in a small pond first. Within 60 days, designer churn drops from 40% to 8%. Because designers are now making money, the platform is not extracting value from them before delivering it. Businesses start referring other businesses, word of mouth accelerates, because the model removes all risk from trying it. By month 6, Meera's monthly gross merchandise value crosses 30 lakh rupees. Her take rate of 20% puts her at 6 lakh in net revenue. Growing, compounding, and structurally healthy. Same product, different machine. Here is the thing nobody talks about when they discuss business models. Your business model is not just a revenue mechanism. It is a signaling device. It tells your customers, your team, and your investors what you actually believe about the value you create. A subscription model says, I am confident you will receive ongoing value month after month. I am betting my revenue on that. A marketplace model says, I only make money when you make money. We are aligned. A freemium model says, I am so confident in the product that I will let you use it for free. The product will sell itself. When the model and the actual value proposition are misaligned, customers feel it. They cannot articulate why, but something feels off. A designer who pays a monthly fee but gets no work does not blame the fee structure. They blame the platform. They say the quality is low. They churn and leave a bad review. But when the model is aligned, trust compounds. Customers feel like the business is on their side. And that feeling, that structural alignment of incentives, is one of the most durable competitive advantages a business can build. Meera did not just fix her revenue model. She fixed her relationship with every person who touched her platform. Now zoom out. This problem, founders choosing the wrong business model, is not rare. It is epidemic. There is a reason the startup failure rate hovers around 90% within the first decade. Product failure is a common narrative. But quietly, invisibly, a massive share of those failures trace back to structural misalignment between the business model and the market reality. Think about the subscription economy boom of the last decade. Every type of business tried to become a subscription. Razor blades worked brilliantly. Subscription coffee worked in some contexts. Subscription lawn care, subscription car ownership, subscription everything. Most of it did not work. Not because subscriptions are bad, but because the underlying usage frequency, the price sensitivity, and the switching cost profile did not support the recurring fee structure. The model fit the trend, not the market. And here is where it gets uncomfortable. Investors often push founders towards certain models not because they are right for that business, but because they are easy to underwrite. Recurring revenue is clean and predictable. Marketplaces are exciting. Freemium shows explosive user metrics even if monetization is broken. A founder who does not understand model selection from first principles is vulnerable to being steered into the wrong machine entirely by people who do not live with the consequences. That is not cynicism. That is just how the incentives work. The framework we walked through today is not complicated. It is 5 models, 4 analytical dimensions, a decision matrix, and the discipline to test before you commit. Rate your market. Rate your capabilities. Align with your long-term goals. Map the competitive landscape. Score each model against each dimension. Then, and this part matters, design the smallest possible test to validate your choice before you build infrastructure around it. For a marketplace, manually match your first 10 transactions before you build the matching algorithm. For a subscription, sell the service manually to 5 customers before you automate the billing. For a freemium, give 20 people free access and watch what they actually do. The model that survives contact with real customers is the right model, not the model that looks best on a whiteboard. Meera's pivot was not a failure. It was the inevitable result of a founder who chose to understand the machine she was operating. Most founders make this adjustment after a catastrophic loss of capital and time. She made it at month 12, with enough runway to course correct. Most are not that lucky, or that honest with themselves. Here is the question I want to leave you with. If someone asked you right now to describe your business model in one clear, unambiguous sentence, not your product, not your mission, but the structural mechanism by which money enters and compounds in your business, could you do it? If there is any hesitation in your answer, that hesitation is worth paying attention to. Because the businesses that last are not just the ones with better products. They are the ones built on machines that were designed to win from the beginning.